Shalom, shalom. Giving our glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone which rule well. Peace and much love, honors, and blessings, salutations to the elect of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, which hold their conduct, composure, and integrity. Standing, believing, holding fast the faith in the name of Yahweh and his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, which Yahweh is the Heavenly Father who the world ignorantly calls God. But we know it is Yahweh. Okay, and then again, the Son of God's name, the only begotten, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right, his name is Yahweh Shai. Okay, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai are the names. All right, and call along Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But this is 1 Kings, chapter 22, in verse. Let me actually go back to it. This is 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 19. It said, and he said, now what I'm about to read, when you go into 1 Kings, the 22nd chapter, is the account that happened with the king of Judah and the king of Israel. You know, we know why that happened. There was a split. All right, after the death of Solomon, you had the tribe of Judah separate from the whole nation of Israel, and we also know that later on too it was the tribe of Levi and Benjamin that was also with them. But at this account, you had King Jehoshaphat going up to King Ahab, which was the king of Israel at the time. And this is a very famous account because it lets you know that the Lord, Yahweh, controls the right hand and the left hand side. All right, and even the scriptures say that the deceiver and deceived are his. You got other scriptures letting you know that the Lord has made the good and the evil. Okay, so he controls both sides. And this account with King Ahab, which ultimately King Ahab died in war or at battle. All right, they were trying to take Ramoth Gilead, and basically King Ahab kept getting prophesied against by a prophet named Micaiah. And King Ahab also had 400 prophets. And Micaiah let it be known that these prophets were lying to him. And Micaiah had a vision that was given to him where he got to saw the counsel of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and how the matters went down to where this spirit, this left-hand side spirit, which anytime you read the scriptures, well, there are other accounts, but there are times when it references the left-hand side or the left hand that's presenting themselves to the Lord. It's talking about left-hand spirits, lying spirits, or what you would call demons, which left-hand angels. And then you got the left-hand side, which represents wickedness or a lying spirit, all right, or evil. And you got both being controlled by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's the point. And so what happened with Micaiah was he let King Ahab know that he had the vision of King Ahab's prophets. So this is 1 Kings chapter 22, and I'll start at verse 18. It said, and the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, it says, did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? Because King Ahab, but it was always that one guy, you know. And us prophets today, man, we're those one guys that just, we keep saying the opposite answer, and really of what, you know, with Esau's enterprise. That's what this lesson's about, comparing this account to what's going on right now with Esau. Because we know that Esau uses the left-hand side to forward his enterprise with America and to gain control of the world and you Israelites. And so we know that of Esau would be in the presence of Satan. So he's using Satan. Satan's a liar. Satan lies for the Lord. All right. We know the Lord uses these spirits. Okay. And all that has gotten the best of him to where now he fully trusts in Satan. You know, the scriptures back that up in James, the 2nd chapter. It says that even the devils believe, which even the word devil, we know Esau's a devil. The word devil means liar. All right. Deceiver. So we know that there are actual devils sanctioned that, ordained that to happen. All right, one of my favorite precepts, internet's acting up, so just give me a second. But this proves too that Esau's being lied to. Okay, because he's following his own way. All right, deceiving himself. And we know that Esau ultimately is the wicked. Okay, so like that is a little choppy, man, and hopefully the signal stays good. But this is Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 4. It says that a wicked doer, which we know Esau is a wicked doer. The scriptures, at that, ain't no, but to Israel, you got to repent from that stuff. But if you're believing in these lies, it's because you're wicked. There has to be a separation, man, and there has to be there has to be a separation from this world to where you can actually find the truth. The truth is buried out there, but we've also been making it very plain and putting it out there for death. Reconsider that the Lord doesn't love you because he would bring you this truth. But if you ain't, the first and foremost, if you don't believe in Yahweh Shemi Shai and those names, then the Lord definitely doesn't love you. Getting that knowledge, man, is the most important thing you need to obtain salvation. Because you got to call on this power to save you. Ask him to help you. Ask him to save you and deliver you. Okay? So, but it says, so anyways, a wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, meaning you listen to lies. All right? And a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. Now, going back to the account with King Ahab, this just showing that a lying spirit is possible to be put out to, because someone asked a question, and I seen it earlier or this morning, or no, a brother posted it and said, what if we've been getting lied to this entire time? By who? Your politicians, your leaders? Like, what if? Well, it's not a speculation, it's the truth. Because Esau is a lying, a naughty tongue. He is the wicked doer too. He himself is being deceived and listening to lies. So how can he tell you the truth? Okay? So the Lord has put a lying spirit out for this devil, which is again Satan, and he's been taking heed to it. All right? And then passing it down to you people, you're listening to it as well. Nevertheless, a lying spirit is out here. So 1 Kings chapter 22 again, in verse 19 it says, and he said, now this is a Micaiah telling King Ahab what he saw. He saw the process of the lying spirits being put into the mouths of the prophets, and basically the Lord having a council like, hey, who wants to be a lion? Who wants to go and persuade him to go to war? And get him killed. The Lord does do that, man. The Lord does, or what do you call it? Makes hits. Okay. Shit, you got a documentary about Esau called Economic Hitmen. All right. But the Lord, we already know, is the ultimate one, man. So, anyways, it said, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord Yahweh. It says, I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven bullshit, believe in lies. That's why the scriptures say that many are deceived, meaning many are lied to by their own vain opinion, because you having these demons in your mind lying to you, talking to you, all right, making you think that what you're listening or believing is true, but it ain't. But it literally backs it up right here. So it said again that he saw all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. So they were talking about like, oh, well, shoot, like, what you want us to do? How do you want it done? You want me to sizzle it up a little bit, sprinkle a little seasoning, and have them fall a certain way? That's literally what it was going. You got to imagine too, man. Jake, we're Israelites, man. The powers, man, they got the Israelite spirit, all of that, man. So you got to imagine, like, shit. I think you should just randomly shoot a bow in the air and see if it'll hit him. But that's actually the account. That's what happened to King Ahab. One said, I'll have this guy, just turn around and shoot just for the fun of it, and we'll have the arrow just strike him in his joint. That's what happened. It said, and the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up to fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And now it says, and there came forth a spirit and stood before Yahweh and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord Yahweh, and this also lets you know that the Lord, again, to let, because you got this whole thing that Satan's up there fighting the Lord and, fuck you. Nah, man, it ain't like that. These spirits are 144% compliant and submissive and obedient to Yahweh. All right, there's no feud going on. There's no fallen angel bullshit. That's all a lie, man. That goes back to Greek mythology. That Lucifer got kicked out of heaven. Now he's fighting the Lord. Jedi lightsaber battle. Jesus, get your shit. We got to go. No, that ain't going on, man. All right. And when you go into the book of Job, it tells you that the sons of God presented themselves before the Lord and Satan. And the Lord spoke with Satan. There's no friction up there in the heavens. Satan does fear, the proper godly fear, right? He fears Yahweh, but he ain't coming up like, oh, I hate you. No, he's coming up like, hey, Shalom, Yahweh. What shall I do for you today? What am I allowed to do? Can I do this for you today? Can I do that? There's no friction. That's why it said that the sons of God presented themselves before the Lord and Satan. So Satan's a son of God. You had that, this is just for those who haven't been around, but we had this, we had a whole thing about that with, like, last year with these bug outs from the New Covenant bullshit doctrine, and they were coming at us. And I even made a lesson about it, and they saw it, where I was saying that Satan is righteous because the scriptures deem it righteous to obey Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That's righteousness. To obey is better than sacrifice. To obey God rather than anybody else is righteousness. Satan is doing his job. He is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He is a lying spirit. He defends the gospel as well, believe it or not. All right? Because Satan will stop those that the Lord does not want to believe in this word. He'll stop them by having them be demonic still, not believing, doing the bullshit that they're doing. Everything you see today. So that's righteous, man. But for me to be like, hail Satan, no, man, that's what you people think we're talking about. That's not. All right? In fact, hold on while I get in this lane. Let me prove that, even Satan is righteous by obeying Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right? That excel in strength. Let me try to find out. Just bear with me. This is Psalms 130 and 20. This proves it. It says, bless Yahweh, ye his angels that excel in strength. We know that Satan is an angel. He's a left-hand side angel. That's all it is. Okay? Just like today, real quick, this is just all spoon-feeding type of information, man, because you got people that will be like, well, no. You got the Illuminati today, right? That's the left-hand side. All right? But you also have, the scriptures say that there is one against another. You have all things. You got to have a balance. You got to have if you have a negative, you got to have a positive. Well, the right side, the righteous Illuminati would be us. All right? Because it calls, Esau Lucifer, which means to be a light bearer, which he claims to be the one holding the knowledge. Well, we have the knowledge. We have the right-hand side of knowledge. We hold the light in the right-hand side in righteous aspect. Okay, you got righteousness, you got wickedness. Okay, you got evil, you got good. We represent the right-hand side of Illuminati. In fact, Yahushua is actually Lucifer. That's all it means. The word Lucifer, the name Lucifer, all it means is light bearer. Okay? Illuminati means illuminated one. Wickedness. It's all wicked, man. So we dig deep all on the righteous side. Okay? This is all just showing that, there's a right side, there's a good, there's a good, there's a bad. Esau's the bad. Okay? But going back to this precept in Psalms, all right, it says, bless the Lord Yahweh, ye his angels, which Satan is an angel, a left-hand side angel, which the word angel, by the way, Salakia, I got to make it clear, angel in the Hebrew is mala'ak, which means messenger. So Satan will send out messages in these people's minds, put in these thoughts, working in them to make them commit certain acts, keep them away from the knowledge, And that's it. All right? So it says, ye his angels that excel in strength, that do his commandments. The word commandments goes back to the word command. All right? Which is an order. Okay? So when the Lord orders Satan to do something and he does it, guess what? He did something right. He did his job. So again, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. So that proves that these left-hand side angels, man, are doing, they're technically being righteous. They just are for another purpose. So going back to 1 Kings 22 and 21, it says, and there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. So a spirit came up and was like, hey, I'll do it. I'll go up and make him do it. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, wherewith, meaning how? How are you going to do it? Let me know. I'm curious. It says, and he said, I will go forth and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. That confirms it right there, man. So is it bad that the spirit came down to lie to make this man go to war to ultimately die? No. This is the counsel of the Lord. Now, is it bad that the Lord has Esau listening to lies? No, because we also know that the Lord gave Esau to what he wants to do. Esau is a liar. The scriptures say, though wickedness be sweet in his mouth. Okay? In fact, the scriptures also tell you in Psalm 62:4, it says that they only consult to cast thee down and that they delight in lies. So Esau is just being fed what he loves to hear, lies. We know this devil, the so-called white man, has this deep, insecure, unaccepted issues in his mind. Because remember, he was rejected. And so he's so bitter about it. He's so fucking worked over about it that he's been lying to himself the whole time. I always give the account about the episode with Everybody Loves Raymond. When the mother would clean up Raymond's chin when he had food on his chin. And Robert, that big fucking guy, felt unloved by his mother because she would never do it to him. And so he started doing it. He would intentionally drop food on his chin to where when he became an adult, they started noticing, like, what the fuck are you doing? And because every time he would get food, he would touch his chin and then put it to his mouth and then wipe his chin. And then finally Raymond was like, why do you do that? And he told him, because, mom always did it to you and never to me. And it was this deep, it's like, psychological issue that he ended up getting fed these lies because he's so desperate to want. Yahweh said, if thou doest good, shalt thou not be accepted? But he was rejected. We know this account. The original story that starts with the birth of Esau and Jacob, we know that we already know that whole thing, man. Esau wanted a blessing so bad, even though he was lined up from then too. But it said that he was rejected from his blessing. All right? That's in Hebrews. Okay, even, what is that, 2 Esdras 3? It said that thou chose Jacob and put by Esau. When you look up those two words, put by, it means to reject. Esau's been rejected, man, and he's been lying to himself, and he's been getting fed lies. Well, the Lord's been allowing him to believe in these lies, and it's a lying spirit. But everything that Esau's doing, this is the point. He's listening to these devils, these demons, telling him to do this, do that. When he consults with his soothsayers and witches and warlocks, hey, should we push the chip? Should we implement the RFID chip? And this is what will be. This is how I will gain the world in my control. And these spirits are telling his ass, yeah, do it, because you will get the world. But just like how Esau, which we know it was a man that spoke to Eve in the garden, later it was known that it was a spirit of an Edomite, who would eventually come out to be Cain and then ultimately Esau. What did that spirit do to say to Eve? Because he's like, nah, you can listen to this philosophy, man, because now you're gonna know between good and evil. But if you keep on reading, it lets you know, like, hey, I did tell you the truth, but I didn't tell you it would kill you. That's what's going on today. That's why I wanted to use this account, because I was thinking about it, man. Like with Esau, he thinks that going to war with these countries, he thinks that bringing the chip, he thinks that Jacob's trouble is going to be the right moves. And he's listening to these lies, because they're saying like, yeah, you're going to get what's going to happen in the end, you know? I got you. You don't get, we already know. We just read it right here that these spirits, man, present themselves before the Lord before the Lord does something. They counsel. They have a counsel before. The scriptures even say that before every enterprise, search out counsel. All right? You're supposed to, consult before you do something. And that's what, the Lord has going on with these spirits. And Esau thinking he's doing his own will. All right, he's going to war of his own charges. But really, it's these spirits being put into his mind to pursue these actions. And it's funny how it's all leading him to his own destruction. The same way right here. King Ahab, he wanted to go to war and take the land, with Jehoshaphat, but he was afraid to go because Micaiah kept telling him that if you do go up, you're going to die. But then even the Lord allowed Micaiah to go up and prosper, man, for the Lord would deliver it to thy hand. So there was this whole account, which also lets you know how much in control the Lord is, man. All right, when you keep on reading down, which I'm not going to read it. All right, you find out that King Ahab disguised himself so no one would know that he was the king of Israel when he went to war. What was it with the Syrians? And I think the robes were put on to King Jehoshaphat, and they went after King Jehoshaphat, but they didn't get him. But that's, you know what, I'll read that little part. Hold on. In verse 34 of 1 Kings 22, it said, and a certain man drew a bow at a venture and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. So let me look up something real quick. I want to see what that means. All right. So it's when it said that the man with the bow drew his bow at a venture, at a risky or daring journey. So, yeah. So it was random, or what appeared to be random. And so, but it was all sanctioned by the Lord. It was all ordained by the Lord. Okay, that's the point. All right? All of what I said, just to prove right there that the Lord controls everything, okay? And the lion spirit, just like that account, is still being played out in this time. Not that exact lion spirit. I'm just telling you that the lion spirit of thinking that America is going to continue forever, or that we're going to, be here forever. Like that's a lion spirit. That's a lie, man. Okay? And it's perpetuated through Esau and the elite's minds that they're going to prosper and take the kingdom and keep Israel captive forever, but that's not going to be the case. All right? Yahweh Shema Shai is allowing this devil to deceive himself and be deceived at the same time. But we know it's going to lead to the destruction, the end, and war, ultimately, of Esau. Okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. That same type of account is still going on today. And the Lord does control the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So, anyways, just wanted to put that out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying while I drive, to camp today. But Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kapadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone, which rule well. Peace and much love, honors and blessings to the elect of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, which hold their conduct, composure, and integrity. Till the next time, I say Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakathon. Kwame Shalom, Shalom, with the water for tuning in. Shalom.